Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Hey, before we get to this episode with Chris on Sizzle versus Steak, I have a favor to ask. Can you head over to South by Southwest's Panel Picker? That is panelpicker.sxsw.com/vote. I know it's a mouthful. And vote for my submission, The True Cost of Being a Boring Brand. Hopefully I'll talk and hopefully you'll hear it. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I'm Ethan Decker. Today I have Chris Barge on the show. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Ethan. Good to be with you.
What is this setting I'm looking at? You have a virtual background. It's full of books. What's going on there?
Oh yeah, you're in the attic in my virtual library. You know, you're accessing all of my imagination right now. I'm just trying to get into that creative, imaginative space and see if there's a light on in the attic after all.
Let's hope so. Let's hope there's some big dormer windows that let in a lot of light too. Chris, folks don't know you as well as I do. I've known you for the past 20 years. Tell people who you are and what you're up to.
I am somebody who really likes the idea of making your community and world a better place. I also like adventure and I like friends and people.
Amen.
And one reason I think we've been friends for 20 years, Ethan, is because I just think you are a creative nutball and also very, very smart person. And I always get a lot out of left field from you that also hits home. You know, if it's interesting and it sparks a creative thought, but it also feels like sound logic, I'm all about that. So I've lived in Boulder for God, my whole adult life now, and have a family here, some high school age students and a teacher wife.
Yep.
I like to play tennis. I like to see music, and I love my job. And you serve on the board of the Boulder Library Foundation, where I'm the executive director. And
Yes.
it's just like you said one time, you have a fun job, and it's true.
Yeah.
I get to dream up ways for people to help and support and advance the future of the library. So
Yes,
that's fun for me.
My wife calls you our expensive friend.
That's true. That's
Chris,
true.
you've been at multiple nonprofits and have wrangled a lot of support out of my wife and I over the years to, as we like to say, help rebuild our community instead of just remodeling our home.
Well, we appreciate your commitment to the community. Ethan, we meaning every nonprofit I've ever represented that you've come and helped to support. Yeah, I don't think a good fundraiser would be really worth their weight if their good friends weren't both intrigued and scared when they came knocking.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm always a little scared when you come knocking, but less so now that I actually work with you on the Boulder Library Foundation board.
It's been awesome having you aboard, Ethan. You joined less than a year ago. You're already our gala MC and you're whipping up designs and all sorts of creative projects for us that are going to advance our cause. So thank you.
I'm at least in middle field, maybe even right field. Why doesn't anyone ever say right field?
Oh, you mean that idea came out of left field?
Yeah.
I have no idea even what the baseball analogy is. Are people throwing things from the stand and the left fielder is catching them and bringing them up to the manager? I mean, where did that even come from?
Yeah, I think if
that whole metaphor is out of left field.
Well, I know that we're both more individual action sports types, skiing, hiking, climbing type things. So I think if either of us were more team sports people, we would know why left field is out of left field. So,
oh, you know what? Maybe the bullpen is out behind left field. And so like when the relief pitcher comes in and just blows it up, that was a game changer. It came out of left field. I don't know.
Or maybe left field is just the harder field to hit if you're a right-handed hitter.
Incorrect. Right-handed hitters pull left.
Okay.
I played Little League when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that comment was out of right field. Hey, before we cover off on more brand stuff, let's cover off on some cover band stuff.
Yeah.
You had a thought in mind for a song you wanted to share.
Well, you know, when our kids were little, you know, da 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 da, you know, the Rainbow Connection.
Mhm.
And Willie Nelson has an amazing version of that as well as
Oh,
anything he has ever sung. And
yeah.
so,
It's
that's one.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That was a big hit with our family too. The Rainbow Connection, of course. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. Kermit does the original, but Willie Nelson in his kind of crackly, creaky old voice brings this plaintiveness to the song, which is just beautiful. And you can't tell that his guitar is completely falling apart on that track. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many Willie Nelson songs, that are covers or originals, and, he's the kind of person that in the first half of a phrase, it's him singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
God bless Willie Nelson.
Rainbow Connection, Willie Nelson. Go listen while you do the dishes. Okay, now let's talk brands, marketing, and advertising. You are heading up, as you said, the Boulder Library Foundation. You've been there for a couple years now?
Before in August.
4 years. Okay. And the Boulder Library Foundation, as people could probably surmise, is a small nonprofit in a small town supporting the library. So it's not even as large and well known as the library itself. It's the Library Foundation. I would imagine that presents some kind of marketing and branding challenges for you. What do you got?
Yeah, so what I got for you today, Ethan, is a challenge that I imagine people in my seat across the country working for nonprofit foundations and supported government causes face, and to varying degrees. If you're somebody like the CU Foundation or the development arm of CU, to take a local example, no problem. There's a lot of iconic brand stuff between Ralphie and Coach Prime and the Folsom Field and the
Right.
beautiful sandstone campus.
So
But if
that's
you're,
University of Colorado CU.
yeah, right,
Yes.
for our national and international audience.
Yes.
But, there's a zillion of us out there that, if we're lucky, are like me and we're working for a cause you've heard of just
Mhm.
because it's like libraries. Everybody knows what a library is,
Right.
that's, yeah. And maybe you've got goosies about, a childhood experience you had where your parents brought you into reading time, or maybe even in your adult life, you had an opportunity for, to advance your life through the library, or maybe you volunteered and helped somebody else. But
Right.
anyway, like when you're talking about, okay, we're advancing this cause, what are we advancing? What is the brand? Well, it's a really solid experience. And here in our town, we've got a gorgeous, iconic library itself.
It's
But we
really
don't
pretty.
have, yeah. But on the other hand, we don't have like Coach Prime. We don't have the Heisman winner. We
No.
don't have the iconic library logo that
Right.
you're gonna, or Ralphie.
The
Uh,
buffalo.
right. And so, what is brand in this context? How do we leverage it, or how do we support the home team, in our case, the Boulder Public Library,
Yep.
in their quest, if they, as they try to strengthen their brand? I can tell you what's in it for us
Yep.
is that we can galvanize support that can improve the future opportunities that are offered at the library, if we're able to not just pull on people's experiences of the general topic called library,
Mhm.
but pull on something that they hug, that is a brand that says, "Oh yeah, that one,
Yeah.
that library, that's my jam, that's my
Yeah.
library. I wanna support that."
Yeah. The first thing I think of is what is brand at all? And that's often a confusion point, especially when you go from the nonprofit world to the for-profit or backwards and forwards. And I like to split it up into 2 things that are really simple. The big B brand is quite simply your reputation. Big B, like capital B. So your brand is what people know you for and what people think of you. And that doesn't need a logo or a mascot. Ralphie, by the way, for those who don't know, is the name of the Colorado Buffaloes mascot. Is Ralphie the actual baby buffalo?
Yeah, it's the actual baby buffalo that
Okay.
runs
Because then
before the
Chip
game and at
is the
halftime.
mascot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Chip is a
He's the
person.
guy, yeah, he's the guy in the suit,
Yeah.
in the buffalo suit at the basketball game.
Yeah, he bounces around and acts silly and tries to shoot hoops. And then Ralphie is an actual juvenile or baby buffalo that gets run across the field at the beginning of each football game. And I think it's probably a terrifying experience for its handlers because bison are not domesticated for a reason.
There's probably a lot of fear on that field coming
Yeah.
from Ralphie and Ralphie's handlers all
Yeah.
at once.
Okay. So Big B brand is the reputation of your foundation, the Boulder Library Foundation. And for that, that involves you as the face and name of the thing. It involves the history of it. It involves the founder. It involves all the things the foundation does and did, and its reputation in the community. And for that, you want to think big and you want to imagine what that reputation, that desired, dreamy future reputation is. Like, I want our reputation to be um, the best, quiet, humble, blah blah blah. Well, no one's going to really know of you because you're quiet and humble, but you want to at least articulate what your desired future reputation is, and then that leads to what you do to achieve that reputation. Secondly, there's the Little B brand, and the Little B brand is what most people think about when it comes to branding, which is your logo, your fonts, your colors. So you referenced CU, the University of Colorado. They have gold and black, I think, are their primary colors. The CU with the classic college font gets locked up in inside of a buffalo logo, and then you've got Ralphie the bison that runs across the field, and then now Coach Prime, which is um, oh my gosh, completely blanking on Coach Prime's.
Oh, that's Deion Sanders, and Coach
Deion
Prime
Sanders.
comes from his NFL/MLB days when he
Yes,
played both professional football and baseball, and he
Hall of
was
Famer.
he was flashy, he was a Hall of Famer,
Yep.
and his games were during prime time
So
TV
yes,
slots,
so
so
he
he
was
was
prime
prime
time.
time.
And then when he became the coach of a different football team,
Jacksonville State,
there you
yes, and
go.
HBCU, he put them on the map and turned
He
them around
became
immediately. And that was his foray into coaching at the
and
college level.
he called himself Coach Prime, and he wears these flat black sunglasses everywhere he goes, and he has Coach Prime hats and merch. And then when he came to CU to coach, he brought the Coach Prime show to Boulder.
That's right.
And it's very flashy, I guess we could say, first and foremost. Does it work? I think it does work for him. He brought in a ton of amazing talent. Brought in a ton of money. Apparently, applications to the school were up like 20%,
No,
30%.
they doubled, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Applications to CU doubled because Coach Prime was running the football team. What does that have to do with the rest of the students? Not a ton, except, of course, football games become a hell of a lot more exciting. You also don't know what kind of celebrities are going to be on the sidelines. Coach Prime is a great example, though, of this mix of reputation, Big B brand, Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer, incredibly talented, and then apparently a big-hearted guy who really cares about the quality of the character of his players. And then Little B brand, which is the logos, the colors, the icons, whatever, the iconic sunglasses, the iconic chains on the neck, and the flat-brimmed hat that says Coach Prime, and turning the CU Buffaloes logo into more of an iconic thing. And most nonprofits do not at all think iconically, much less do they think about being flashy. So let's stick with this for a couple more seconds, because I think those are two really good concepts for you at the Boulder Library Foundation. You want to grow. You don't necessarily want to be flashy. You don't necessarily want to have, well, maybe you do want to have celebrities come to your event. I mean, if I'm hosting it, I'd love to meet more of these celebrities. But I think if you thought more in terms of being flashy and trying to be iconic, you would end up doing things that would help the foundation become more well-known and become more familiar and raise the profile of the foundation in town, if not in the whole state, if not in the whole country. I mean, Chris, can you, in the nonprofit world, are there famous nonprofits? Are there flashy nonprofits?
Well, it's funny that I've got a random one that pops into my head when I think about that. That's the National Outdoor Leadership School, Knowles.
Mhm.
I don't think of them as flashy, but we're in a town here in Boulder that context matters and a lot of outdoorsy types. And so I think of that as a very strong brand. And
Yeah.
I know its leader, and they they've been around. And my neighbor's kid just came back from a month there, real positive experience, learned skills, and became a better leader. And that's in that name. Sure, they've got a nice little logo.
Mhm.
They are not flashy like Coach Prime or CU, but for a couple decades, they've been competing head to head with Outward Bound,
Yeah.
which used to be the owner of that space. And I don't know where they're at now, but they're both still strong brands. But Knowles up in Lander, Wyoming, and all over the world, and with instructors that they import from
Yep.
everywhere from Chile to China, is kind of they're aligned with that Jimmy Chin. He's the movie. He makes outdoor movies about cave rescues
Oh, yeah.
in Southeast Asia. I mean, you think of Knowles and you think of all the great outdoor brands. They're just sort of a, you know, they're all of a type. Uh,
Yes.
it's like, okay, so that's a badass brand in my
It
in my book.
They have really built up and it's been over decades. They've been around for what, 30 or 40 or
Oh, way
50
more. I
50
almost did
years?
one of those trips 30 years ago.
Yeah. Knowles has spent a lot of time building their reputation.
Yeah. But I
Uh,
did an Outward Bound when I had a choice because
mhm.
Outward Bound had I would say it was because Outward Bound had a stronger brand at the time.
Right, right,
But if
and
I
I
were to
think
do it today, I might go do Knowles.
Knowles has a very strong brand. I believe Knowles has worked with NASA,
Hmm.
so they take astronauts out to the wilderness and replicate really harsh living environments and experiences for them. So Knowles continues to demonstrate their thought leadership in this world as well, and take their outdoor leadership to the corporate world and other places.
Yeah, it's the
But
ethos and the
yeah,
environmental values.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other nonprofits you would say would be more flashy?
Um, Yeah, sure. Like that bucket challenge,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
that was the craze several years ago.
The Ice Bucket
That
Challenge?
yeah, that put that cause on the map. I think it was about MLS, what or, um,
I believe it was too. Although it's funny that we can't
MS.
remember it, and that's another point to make.
ALS, ALS, not Major League Soccer, it was about ALS.
Yes, it's the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
I think so,
Correct.
isn't that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great example where it was extremely memorable and noticeable and flashy and created a huge buzz, and you had celebrities calling each other out to do the challenge. And then it used to be that I think it started as either you pour a bucket of ice over your head or you donate to the ALS. And it ended up being both, of course, because pouring a bucket of ice water on your head is pretty dramatic
Mhm.
and engaging and entertaining. And a lot of people in the nonprofit world might look at that and say it's superficial, it detracts and distracts from the mission, but it got more people talking about ALS than anything in the past 10 years, as far as I know. And even though it faded because it was a bit of a bubble, it probably had a huge impact, and it probably created more awareness and involvement with ALS than they'd had in a long time. And that's what branding and brand building and marketing are often about, which is making your product and your brand familiar, making it sticky so it's stuck in people's minds, and then ideally connecting the flashy stuff with the substance, the sizzle and the steak. A lot of nonprofits that I know of focus way too much on the steak and not enough on the sizzle. So as a small foundation in a small town, a good recommendation might be to try and be more flashy, to do things that add sizzle and see it's going to be uncomfortable because so many nonprofits are so mission driven and want to be such good stewards of the money and not do stuff that seems flashy and that seems self-aggrandizing. But the goal is to get more involvement. The goal is to get more people thinking about the libraries, excited about the libraries, knowing about the foundation, and involved. And if that requires a little bit of flashiness, hell, man, that seems like the price you want to pay to get more people involved.
Well, great example. You've helped us with it. I mean, bringing a globally famous author into turning it into a sold out gala situation last year, and then repeating it again with another world
Mhm.
famous author, with Shelby Van Pelt from Remarkably Bright Creatures coming in from Chicago on September 18th. Get your tickets while they last.
Yeah.
We've sold out 3/4 of the show already. I mean, that's an
Good fun. Good
example
fun.
of, something that the library was not in the business of doing, nor the
Mhm.
foundation up until then. But now the library is starting to use like the bigger space and think of itself in different ways. And so
Mhm.
that's the partnership I'm looking for with our library, is that, yeah, we glow them up.
Yes.
We help them stretch a little bit. We stretch first, and then maybe they do it in a more sustained way.
Yeah.
And we're their dream money, and we help the community see, okay, here's what you have now. What could this be? And I love your idea that it could be something a little with a little more sizzle.
Yeah, you need a little sizzle for that steak. And frankly, even
Mhm.
nonprofit people love the sizzle, right? It's just that when we become managers of nonprofits,
Yeah.
it's as if it all has to be steak. There's no time or money for sizzle. It feels too self-aggrandizing. It feels too chest beating. It feels too flashy. It
Hmm.
feels too superficial. But really, that's what we all love. It's magnetic. It's what makes Coach Prime and double the applications to CU. I'm sure. In fact, I know for a fact there were professors at CU who thought that that was silly and superficial, that so many students would want to come to CU because of a famous coach and not because of the brilliant academics and the great labs and the great, um, Nobel Prize winning professors that work at CU. But hell, it brought a lot of attention and interest to CU. And what's the price for those big-hearted, bleeding heart people? The price is a little sizzle.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully thinking in terms of flash and thinking in terms of sizzle and seeing the impact it has and remembering that that's the goal of increasing impact, that might help the Library Foundation think about its future and chart its future, and similarly help the library itself think about its reputation and try and make its reputation bigger and flashier and more sizzly.
Yeah, we got a lot of steak to serve. We just got to sizzle it up. The
Yeah,
people already are coming in with positive thoughts about what the library is and what it can do, and that's a really good thought to ponder. And I'm glad that you're not just pondering it with me, but on the board and helping us add some sizzle to our operation, Ethan.
absolutely, Chris. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
All right. Have a great day and talk to you soon.
All right, you too, Ethan.
Do you want to improve the performance of your brand without breaking the bank? Bring it into the shop and we'll do a reasonably priced and very quick brand tune-up. We'll run some diagnostics, make some quick fixes, and then give you some recommendations for bigger improvements you can make down the road. Also, if you got something out of this episode, think of one person who might also get something out of it and send it to them as a way of saying, hey, thinking of you.